Everybody that's listening has done something great in their life. Everybody's done it. And when you make up your mind to be defined by a vision of the future instead of the memories of the past, all you have to do is make a decision just with a level of intensity that has such a strong amplitude of energy that in that moment your body begins to respond to your mind. In other words, the choice that you make becomes a decision that you never forget. It becomes an experience. And the stronger you have that emotion, the more you are going to pay attention to what you're focusing on in your mind. And now you're beginning to remember your future. Long-term memories are created by strong, highly charged emotional events. The stronger the emotional charge you feel from some event, the more you pay attention to the cause, and the brain takes a snapshot, and that's called a memory. So then, how do you change the memory of the past? You got to start remembering your future, and you got to come out of your resting state, and that moment has to define you. So everybody's done this, and you just got to have a clear intent on what you want. And so learn, study, get something in your brain that's going to stimulate you about what's possible. And then begin to dream or begin to build a model of what it could look like, and don't let go of it. And begin to experience the emotions of how you feel when it happens. And teach your body emotionally what that future is going to feel like. So it only requires two things. A clear intention, that's a function of a coherent, organized brain, and an elevated emotion, which is a function of your heart and your body. And when you combine those two, you're going to change your energy. And when you change your energy, you're going to change your life. But that's the start. Because it's so easy to forget your vision. It's easier to forget it than remember it, right? It's easier to believe in your past than to believe in your future. It's easier to romance your past than to romance your future, or fall in love with your past than it is your future. But people who start falling in love with their future more than their past falls away. So then, you got to write down the thoughts in that day that are not going to sneak by your awareness unchecked. Like, I can't, it's too hard, I'll never change, what's wrong with me? It's my mother's fault, my father was an alcoholic, my ex was a whatever. You gotta be so conscious of those thoughts that you're not going to let them slip by and go unconscious to them. You got to decide what choices you got to stop making. You got to stop behaving a certain way. You got to stop having the same experiences and staying away from those people that create those same experiences. And you got to watch those emotions that are going to bring you to a lower denominator, because the moment you start feeling suffering or pain or frustration, you just disconnected from the energy of your future, and now you're back to the energy of your past. So it doesn't take much to list two thoughts, two choices, two behaviors, two experiences, two emotions. You're just going to stay aware of it and review it, so much so that you don't go back unconscious into a program. And then you start thinking about the thoughts you do want to fire and wire in your brain. You start thinking about the behaviors or choices you're going to make in one day. It turns out if you sit down and close your eyes and begin to rehearse those behaviors, you start thinking about those choices you're going to make, you're beginning to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like it's already happened. Now you're priming your brain into the future. Your brain is typically a record of the past, but now it's a map to the future. And if you keep doing it over and over again, firing and wiring, that hardware is going to become a software program. And who knows? You just may start thinking like a happy person. You might start acting like an abundant person, because there's no magic there. You install the circuits, and then you say to me, well, I don't know how to do that. Well, read a book on somebody who was poorer than poor and then became super wealthy, and read his story or her story, and you're going to see it's not glamorous. And they failed miserably many times, and you're going to say, I'm going to take that quality with me, because if that person can do it, I can do it. So the more you learn, the more you make new connections in your brain, the more you have the raw materials to dream a bigger dream. And then you would say to me, well, I'm not going to feel grateful until it happens. And I'm going to tell you, well, then you're waiting for something outside of you to change how you feel inside of you. You're living by the Newtonian law.